Hello, friends. We are back in the White Mountains of Arizona on our property and just having a great time discovering all the unique wildlife around here. The wildflowers are in bloom at this time, and Tara is having a lot of fun identifying all these flowers, all these plants, and what their medicine is. But we're not focused on that right now. Now we're talking channeling. You know, when you're a kid, you hear these stories, you read these books, you watch these movies about King Arthur and Camelot and his Knights of the Round Table and the magician Merlin, and it sounds like fantasy, but it also sounds like, you know what, it could be true. It sure could. So we wanted to get to the bottom of this, maybe ask a few questions about King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table, Camelot. Apparently these are daisies right here. Tara's loving this patch of daisies. We thought it would be a nice place to sit down and tap in. See if she's ready yet. Yep, sure is. Alright, are you shielded, grounded, all that?
Yep.
Have you connected?
Yep. To my higher self.
Alright, so we want to know about King Arthur and Camelot. Who should we contact?
King Arthur.
Alright.
It seems that he may have had a different name, but it's essentially the person people think of when they think of King Arthur.
So he was a real person in 3D
Yes.
during this Earth experiment?
This Earth experiment, several different timelines.
Okay.
Three.
3 different timelines, okay. What period of time did he exist in?
Medieval to Renaissance.
Did he command a kingdom?
Not so much kingdom as the way we think with castles, but more of part of the land and village and people.
He was a leader.
Yes.
What kind of leader was he?
The one who at first led like any 3D king would, but at a certain point early in his reign had an awakening.
A spiritual awakening?
Yes. And it challenged his religious beliefs. But he felt, and he would have called it maybe like a god, but he felt he was being led by it, even though it contradicted sometimes his spiritual religious beliefs. He felt that this was an even greater power and he felt it in himself. So he was starting to understand that God was the self, but still believing in an external power.
Usually these beliefs at that time would be persecuted. How come he wasn't persecuted, or was he?
There are many that disagreed with him, thought it was almost like blasphemy. But he was so respected, and he had such a grasp of the 3D and how to be successful, keep people safe, keep people fed, that it was like, it was okay, sort of. There was those who really liked him and those that really didn't like him.
Did he have Knights of the Round Table?
Yes, but he wouldn't have called them knights, more like friends, comrades.
But did they fight?
They were warriors.
And they fought on his behalf?
Not really for him, but for what he believed in. They fought for like when he would receive what he thought was a download from God, he would explain it to his men, and that would be what drove his men, and they wanted to fight for that. They also believed in him. So it's kind of, they're fighting for him, but also fighting for what they also believed in, his downloads.
Did Merlin exist?
Yes. He would have been more like a like you might think of like an apothecarist, or one who's always off in meditation, spiritually connected to the land, and he would have been close friend, like a mentor.
But he couldn't manipulate 3D in ways others couldn't.
He wasn't like creating the sort of magic in fairy tales. He was helping people to, as he found, the power within. And so he understood manifestation. Manifestation morphed into fantastical magic in storybooks.
Okay, so they could manifest as we can today.
Yes.
Consciously.
Yes.
And they used that conscious manifestation to create a kingdom.
Yes.
Were the people of this kingdom happy?
The majority were happy to live where they did.
Was this kingdom in what we consider modern day England?
Somewhere around there, near close, around there.
Is it in Cornwall?
Yes.
Tintagel? Why did this kingdom remain known throughout history? Why did it stick out?
It was one of few rare times a hierarchical system could be both 3D, but also one in which the leader was connected to its higher self and followed that instead of the ego in order to build a kingdom, feed its people, protect its people. It was a very delicate balance between higher self and ego.
How long did the kingdom thrive for?
A long time.
You okay?
It was like more than a couple centuries.
So even after Arthur had died.
Yes, his way of connecting and being led with what people thought was by God, he inadvertently taught them, and that kind of vibration stays around.
Is the connection between King Arthur and the Holy Grail myth?
Holy Grail was never a 3D thing. But yes, there is a connection between the two.
The Holy Grail being the discovery that all is one and one is all.
He found the Holy Grail within. When one lives forever, it doesn't mean the physical body. It's the vibration, frequency, teachings, understandings that's left behind.
Have there been any other societies similar to Camelot?
Scotland. Unclear to see the others.
What can we learn from this civilization today?
Just have a good understanding of what is leading you. Higher self, ego. When you understand both, you know how to use both dualistically to the advantage for all. And when one follows their higher self, a legacy can be left because the ego dies with the body.
Is there a last message that Arthur has for us?
The sword, or whatever machine in whatever era, eon that you live, will always be an extension of the mind. So you'd be wise to know where you are pointing it and who you actually consider your enemy. Wielding the sword, your mind, without full understanding of what is on the other side, who is on the other side, can only lead to ruin.
Thank you for sharing that information with us. And she's back.
I'm back. Whee.
Stretchies.
Yep. Okay.
Water. All
That
right.
felt nice. Like, I don't know, it was also interesting to channel because it was easier because it was mostly just my higher self talking. So I didn't feel too out of it.
Yeah. Cool. So, I mean, I think that was a good idea. If you guys have anything else you want us to channel, I mean, we're all up for ideas. Take one last look at these daisies before we go.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. Ooh. Look at these. We saw a rattlesnake earlier.
He was cool though.
He was cool.
He just wanted to. Oh, look at a little finch. That's so cute.
All right, we should probably sign off.
All right then. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.